When I quit driving, my husband also had quit driving prior to me. I needed to get to the doctor. I take the city bus too. I also use the city bus, but there are times that that's not convenient, or if it's really cold and you have to make a change at the station, that makes it more difficult, especially if you're unsteady on your feet. I'm unsteady on my feet right now, and the Gadabout drivers are very accommodating too, and the fish drivers, so that's part of the reason we choose Gadabout and the fish.
In Tompkins County, we're a mix of small urban, which is Ithaca, and rural. So there are a number of people who do not have access to transportation or reliable transportation, and the transit operator, TCAT, has fixed routes, so it's not able to reach a large number of people, particularly in the rural context. Way2Go is a transportation education program. We do outreach and education with the public, and we produce brochures. We have a very active website. We go into the community and do outreach around what the various transportation services in the county are that are available. Way2Go is partnering with a number of organizations in Tompkins County that provide volunteer drivers to take people where they need to go where there are not transportation services. So we're helping in a recruitment effort so that each of these organizations can increase the number of drivers and be able to provide more transportation services.
My name is Bill Maxwell. I go by Max, and I'm been a fish driver for a couple years now. FISH is an acronym for Friends in Service Helping, and it started with a church group that gave rides to medical appointments and rake leaves and snow shovel, but it morphed into this separate group that has a focus on taking people to medical appointments in county and out of county. To request a ride, they call 211. Which is a hotline for several things, but one of them is for fish. They're directed to the person that has the schedule for fish drivers, who's on for that particular period, who is on and really available, and then that person is contacted.
So the one big thing for a lot of people who use fish is that fish is completely free. So they don't have to pay anything. They can donate if they want. But the cost is a big issue for a lot of the people that end up relying on us.
TCAT has a number of services they provide to those with lower incomes, and they often provide free bus passes for students that need them to get to activities. But because of the fact that we have a very large rural county, and also a lot of people have to travel between counties, say to get to a medical appointment, in Syracuse from Ithaca, it's not always served by a TCAT route, and also buses don't travel between counties. People can take an Uber, but it can be very expensive.
Whereas you could maybe call an Uber or Lyft or a taxi, generally they don't provide that door-to-door service with like a friendly hand and a smiling face. It's very impersonal, and a lot of the riders definitely like the kind of like personal attention that they got from the volunteers, especially if they're going to a medical appointment. I would say usually those are a little bit stressful, so that one-on-one assistance and that just having that conversation in the car to and from the appointment was very valuable to the riders that we heard from.
Medical appointments make up a big part of what volunteer drivers drive for. But there are other services that volunteer drivers provide rides for, including driving parents or caregivers to student events, to plays, to sporting events.
My name is John Michelli, and I drive for Red School Rides, which is a program that helps parents of K through 12 students attend school functions. PTA meetings, special ed meetings, concerts at night, things of that nature. A lot of the community doesn't have access to transportation. The people that live in the country really need cars, and they don't have them. One parent, she drove years ago that her kid was at Cayuga Heights School and was in the 4th grade, and the parent had never been to the school. For K through 12 parents that don't have transportation, they have kids in school, but it's just very difficult for them.
And another program we work with is Disabled American Veterans. Volunteer drivers drive the DAV vans for any veteran to appointments, to VA hospitals, and to clinics.
Okay, which way shall I go, dear?
I would take that way.
Yeah, that way. Okay. The Disabled American Veterans Organization is to service our clients, men and women, who are retired service people from our military. And it has to get them to their hospital, to their doctor's appointments. Some are able to drive, but they do not feel safe driving all the way up to their to the hospital in Syracuse. They are under an income that is limited in ways. If they need to take their partner, wife or husband with them, we fill that need. But if they are just trying to get a taxi, it's too much money for them to try to do that on their own. As it's maybe once a week they have to be up for certain appointments. I have one client that has to be up there for 3 days a week. And I can have his wife come with us.
I believe it's so important that an organization like the DAV exists, because this way veterans have a way to get to their VA appointments without having to impose on anybody or anything. This organization exists specifically for that, and they can feel comfortable utilizing the service. There are so many veterans or communities who need medical treatment, be it from their service or from their time now. And I think it's just so important that we help the people who gave us so much or willing to put so much on the line. I think being able to drive it may seem like a little thing on our part, but to them it's a very big deal that we can help them get to the VA and to their medical appointments.
If it wasn't for this ride, I'd be just laying in a bed someplace dying. So you might say I owe my life to this service.
If I were asked, what I get out of this is that I get some perspective on my life. And I'd say that's the main benefit. I meet people that have disabilities and I like to know how they handle that in their life, because it may come from me.
There's needs everywhere throughout the county. Fish still kind of separates people a little bit geographically, so if you do live in one of these towns, you can choose to be like the designated driver for people who are requesting rides out of Dryden, for example. So you don't have to come to the city unless you're driving someone to their appointment that's in the city from Dryden. The good thing about the volunteering is that you can do as much or as little as you want in these organizations. So at the very base, you can be a driver and help out a couple hours a week or even a couple hours a month. Some people just could only commit to a couple hours on one day in each month, and they'd be very well accommodated in their schedule. Anything helps, really. More volunteer drivers is the most important thing that all these volunteer driver services need, because even just having one person to take that extra ride means that we can actually give that person a ride.
There are some days we have people that need to get up to the VA, and our coordinator is sending out an SOS for a driver. There's not a driver available for that day. We need more drivers.
I think one of the reasons why people are afraid to volunteer as a driver is because they feel there's a lot of liability or they need a lot more training. For most of these operations, your regular driver's license will satisfy the requirement, and some of the organizations that may require a CDL will even help you earn them. When we think about liability also, there's so many laws of protecting you as a volunteer. As long as you're volunteering and trying to be helpful, many of the times your liability is small to none.
All you really need to do is to have maybe one day a week, maybe one day a month, maybe act as a substitute driver so that you're not scheduled for every day in the week or in the month, and that you like driving, you like people, that you feel comfortable with people, and that you're just there to help them. And that's part of our job. We have a job, which means be compassionate, be patient, and to love your neighbor as yourself.
I would say just try it. There's no intense commitment required. Try it out for even just for one day. If you want to start volunteering, even just for the one day, I would reach out to Way2Go. They're connected with all the volunteer driver services available in Tompkins County, and they can help you pair up with the ones that fit your needs and schedule the most.